Namaste, Galactic family. Hey, hey, welcome back to the channel. Indigo Angel, come on into this dimension. I'm so excited that you guys are here today with me and my special guest, Missy Hill, a beautiful sister who is doing so many amazing things, which we're going to get into all of the cool stuff that she has going on. But we have been going back and forth the last few days, as I know all of you probably have with the current events and the Paris Olympics and the biblical elections that we have going on of massive proportions, as Missy told me to say so lovely and eloquently in the title, that there's just so much spiritual symbolism popping off left and right that we thought it would be only right to decode some of it and have a deep dive about all of it. So we're here today to jump into all of the nitty-gritty of all of that crazy symbolism that we've seen at the beginning of the Paris ceremony opening. And as you guys, those that are on this awakened level that are all about this life have noticed that the Olympics are somewhat of a Hunger Games, are they not, Missy?
Absolutely. It is a highly charged subject. And because it is so charged, I have a few things just to set the tone, the frequency. I brought out my beautiful crystal skulls for them to record, and they've actually been in contact with Max. This is a citrine named Jerusalem that represents that part of the world, and the New Jerusalem, if you want. I mean, it's just a name, but you know what it means for America, that we're supposed to step into the higher timeline. And this one is called Shambhala. And they've done a lot of grid work and have traveled a lot of places. And I have a beautiful crystal bowl. And I just thought if everybody just wants to just take a deep breath and just let it all go and look at this as
Ooh.
entertainment. This is all entertainment, you guys. What you
Yeah, well, come on in the room and Missy's gonna the only thing, Missy, is with the sound bowls, there's a setting on your Zoom that you usually have to push to be able to hear it. Um,
Oh,
well,
really?
yeah, but I can hear it actually just a little bit, so see if it comes in a little bit more here.
It's more the intention of what it is. People know what a crystal bowl is, so link into the frequency of the crystal bowl. And also, I pulled in some cards today. These are called the inner child cards, the fairy godmother card, which is actually also the high priestess and the feminine energy returning. And we know what the fairy godmother represents because it's in all of our fairy tales, Cinderella, things like that. So, yeah, I thought that was a good
I think
representation.
it's definitely in alignment with the rising of the feminine presence within the presidential election. I think
Yes.
me and you have gone back and forth about the feminine collective consciousness rising and also the needs of the collective at this time. I think in terms of emotional, uh, well, what we've all been through since 2020. You know, there's been trauma, there's been PTSD, there's been massive amounts of awakening, there's been, I think, a lot of financial suffering in terms of inflation and people really just not surviving, businesses going up and down with these curves and twists with where the collective is, employment not rising with the inflation. A lot of people are scrambling. I mean, a lot of people have been scrambling. So, I
That's
mean,
right.
yeah,
Uh,
you have this mother energy coming in, and I think this may be somewhat of a push or something that's needed in terms of like mother energy, like compassion, like needing the mother. I think the United States is crying out for a mother. There's this like mother energy, right? I don't know if you feel that, but
I feel it, but I also feel like more of a Peter Pan energy, like America's like the Lost Boys of pirates, because there's another meme going around that we're the resistance. Yeah, we're the resistance until, it comes to real life. In the movies, we like things that are about the resistance, whether it's V for Vendetta, or just these different movies that we've had. I can't even think of the names of all of them. In Star Wars you have the Resistance. So I'm feeling it's also sort of like Wendy, where Wendy in Peter Pan is actually a young teenager. She's not very mature, and she's having to step into a mother role to mother the
Mm.
lost boys. And I kind of feel, even though I picked the fairy godmother, that's what we want. We're choosing to have like a fairy godmother come in and rescue us. But really, what I feel is going to step up is more of a Wendy person that's not very,
Yeah.
it doesn't have much spiritual growth and has to learn quickly. That's why I actually sent you a silly video by Elon Musk, which I don't know if you had time to look at it. We won't get into that right now, what that was about. So, yeah, on
Yeah.
Twitter.
Well, I mean, I think one thing we know for sure is that speaking about the election in general, is that all of the, people that come forward, like they're technically puppets to the shadow government. So yeah, any way that we're looking at this, it's kind of like each puppet is going to have their light and dark shadow aspects.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like we have to find our balance within that. But also know that they don't really have control. I mean, over anything. They don't really actually have a say over anything. It's just kind of like they are who's gonna role model leadership, so to speak.
Right, that's exactly right. So the whole thing, we've got two aspects with the Olympics. We have what it really means, which is the Greek, and which you're going to delve into, and then we have the Christian aspect that's more recent, because remember, after a lot of the paganism and symbolism from paganism was adopted by Christianity after Constantine and all that. So what's in our
Yes.
collective mind is this biblical revelation of the Christ figure against the seven-headed dragon, Hydra woman with the scarlet woman, the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, the Last Supper piece of Leonardo da Vinci's painting, but it's really called the Baccha. God, I can't say the word, the Bacchanal, which is what they celebrated back then. But the way it was put together is looking exactly like the Last Supper, except with the drag queens and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
figures that it's deplorable, debauchery, all this stuff, the heavy metal to Marie Antoinette, having the decapitation, and that was the right before the French Revolution, which is important. The fact that it was the Revolution, and the grids where she was from, I was tuning into, which is Vienna. It all
Yeah.
center, where you're going to have that Germany come up. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting a lot of pieces of the surrounding areas of what's going into Germany, and even Hamburg is on my radar, where the word hamburger comes from, but not too much on the grid work. But no, that's coming 8-8 and everything that's going to be surrounding it. So you have all these pieces, but what I really want to tune into is the horse. You're going to talk
Yeah.
about,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm going to talk about what it is from my perspective of what it represents, that the white horse, the pale horse with death riding on it, is the fourth seal. We're talking about those Jehovian seals again, okay, which are the trumpet, trump, the sound of the last trump, Trump, Mr. T, and trumpet, Trump ET, because the ETs are the ones that are, or interdimensionals, or beings from another universe, whatever, the phantom matrix, the fatally, whatever you want to call them, are actually the ones that are instigating that in the holographic morphogenetic field through the selenite crystal pylons. So you got this on that 70-degree west ley line. So that's, the longitudinal line, these Jehovian seals. So the fourth seal, again, what's interesting about that ties into that grid work that I was telling you about, where the Bahamas is one of those cathedral networks. on the position of 5 in the first position. Number 1 actually connects into Siesta Key, Sarasota. But that one is where I told you the underground aquifer, that beautiful energy from the bioluminescence and everything is filtering into that. So, of course, they're triggering that and was seeing a timeline of, okay, you've got this going on in Paris. You've got the Eiffel Tower that actually talks to um the Statue of Liberty. Oh, this I wanted to bring up from the last grid work because I never mentioned this. I
Hey
told you,
Missy, let's take a second real quick. Let's give a shout out to everybody in the chat. We have some people coming in, and let's just say hello really, really quickly. And then hold that thought for just a second because I'm gonna actually do a screen share over to some of the pictures of everything that you're talking about, and
perfect.
we'll kind of systematically work through some of it, and we'll go talk about each thing a little bit more in detail. So thank you everyone for coming into the live. And we'll just give a special shout out to Alexander, to Pia, to Zerilith, Immortal. Yo, what's up, yo? Pia, Claudia, Deb. Hey guys, come on in. We're just so happy that you guys can come in the chat and say hello. You do have to be subscribed to the channel for at least 60 seconds to get into the chat, just to keep all the little riffraffers out of there and keep everything in high spirits. And yeah, just to give a heads up too, Missy was just talking about the next gridwork mission that we have coming up, which is going to be in Germany. I'm getting some hearts on that. That might be from beautiful Miss Pia. Yeah, last time I did a live, we were putting hearts on our own comments. It was fun. But yeah, Germany, guys, Germany is the next deep dive. So we're so excited. I've been sitting with it honestly every single day, just sitting with the frequency, the energy of Germany. And really, there's so much that we have to still clear within the World War II locked land consciousness trauma within the soul river lines of the country of that land. Missy was just bringing in some interesting stuff with this flowing down the river all the way to Vienna. Um, and I think you're absolutely spot on the mark with that. And I need to look at those river locations that you sent me, Missy, because I really enjoyed that thing that you sent. But with the World War II trauma, what I'm getting, and if you want to, we've been comparing things to the pale horse and biblical revelations. If you want to talk about that, there are some things in the Bible that talk about for any sort of ancestral clearing to come through. I mean, we have to wait about 7 generations. Okay, so if we talk about World War II and when this occurred, I mean, we're only what, 3 generations out of that? So, yeah, we got like 4 more generations of having to heal and clear the colonizer program, victimizer programming, uh, genocide and genocidal programming, like Holocaust programming and clearing and wounding and the infliction of this uh, from perpetrator and from the victim perspective, that both sides are still healing and clearing so much. I mean, if you talk about the war with Israel, and we see it replaying within the Gaza-Israel war, basically. This is another Holocaust. This is another genocide. So the programming still exists within these land codes. And I mean, there are places that they're implementing it and running it through the Archangel Michael ley line, which is very significant, I think, within all of this as well. But yeah, this is some of the focus. So with Germany, I think it will be very important that we get into some of the nitty-gritty of these particular locations, those that are really ready to do some of this hard, deep global healing and clearing work on the land over there. I mean, I think it would be good, honestly, Missy, and you tell me what you think about this, to revisit Auschwitz and revisit some of the places in which that they're where the death camps were. I mean, we got to clear those areas, cross paths and clear and heal the souls. A lot of people lived and died and they didn't even know what for. I mean, we talk about the massive amounts of deaths that occurred in World War II. I mean, what was it like? It's the most amount of deaths in any World War history period across the globe. Like, um, I was seeing, I think it was like, was it 55 million, 60 million died in World War II. So, I mean, if you think about how much chaos, confusion, and death magic and spellbinding black magic is kind of stuck over in those grids. So, and not only to shift that, I think collectively, things are coming up in certain locations, like you just called out the Bimini Islands, the Bermuda Triangle. We have our major gridwork events, Hawaii, the Inner Earth Q site to France, Paris, Montsegur, France, the Olympics. I mean, this is all connected. And unfortunately, these events and these satanic ritual ceremonies are feeding from the deaths of World War II. I mean,
So you
this
know
is
what?
this is a food source loop cycle. Yeah.
I felt tuned into blue avians or some kind of blue, seraphim energy. So I'm wearing this. But when you bring up Hawaii, I've got my plumeria. So when you get over to Hawaii, they're going to put those plumeria flowers when you get off the plane. At least they used to do that. But I got a couple things I want to share. A synchronicity from the last time that we did the show, because I kept talking about the Obelisk network when I left Mount Mitchell the day I was hiking. And I said, obelisk, 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 but I never said the name of it. It was the Vance Monument, named after Zebulon Vance. And if you know who's running now,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
ties it with that movie, Hillbilly Elegy, I mean, which I didn't watch, but there may be a relation distantly on the father's side because of Appalachia. So I just thought that was funny because the obelisk in Asheville, it was taken down, and it's after Zebulon Vance. So I just, I like to bring in
Yeah, yeah.
things.
Missy's bringing in so there's a Vance obelisk in the United States, and that was struck, right? Or it was taken. How was
It
it
was
taken
taken
down?
down because of some of these things, the BLM. I don't want to get into anything where I could have, these organizations where people get up and protest, blah, 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 right? All these protesting organizations, they took it down, which from our perspective, it looks like, they shouldn't have done that, but because they're changing her story, to make it what they want now instead of, telling the whole thing. That's why we don't remember anything about Greece and everything's Christianized. It would, but
Right.
but on the higher level, the reason they're taking these down is because they're electrical in nature. And if they're bringing the feminine in, that's why they have to come down. They just don't
Yeah.
tell us that.
Well, and
That's
that
what
might be
changes.
something that we see start to happen worldwide as more obelisks get taken down over the
Yeah.
grids because there's an entire obelisk network that expands in from ancient Egypt.
And
I
they
mean,
talk to each other. This is what I was getting. They actually talk to each other. So by taking that down, it couldn't talk to what was going on at Mount Mitchell, and the energy that was cleaner at Mount Mitchell. All the grid work I've been doing for years. The only problem is sometimes when they take it down, they don't replace it with anything. So it's a festering wound that has to be dealt with. That was one thing. The other thing I wanted to share with the group and you was a question you asked, because it had to do with these trumpet pulses, which I brought up. So if you're just tuning in, go back to the beginning of the show so I don't have to talk about that again. But the last trumpet pulse, from my understanding, was last November 2023, because it was 8 years and it started in 2016. Is that right? Well, whatever. I know it started in 2016. And then the Chevron burst, which is coming from, now this is Iasha or Ashiana Dean's work from Voyagers 2 and her recent Helontic discourses from daily living. She talks about these chevron bursts, okay, the chivalrous chevron bursts, which are actually coming from what's called the Effie field, the eternal intelligence. Wait, Effie. Eternal first field intelligence field, and the Uralay Conservatory, which goes beyond like the room with the view, the window, and all this stuff. So it's beyond our. Oh my God, it's starting to rain. Do you hear this?
I
I may.
cannot hear it, but I know. Yeah, it often starts raining on me when I'm sitting outside and nobody can hear it, but it'll be so loud. But it's a beautiful clearing, and you have such a beautiful background. Everybody, like, drop it down in the comments. Like, Missy is in a little forest. No wonder the fairy was coming through for you before we got into this.
So the thing
But
with
Missy,
those.
I just wanted to show you. I shared on the screen. I pulled up a picture of what each trumpet represented on a biblical portion. Um,
Perfect.
do you think I should go over them for everyone?
Yeah, go over that. Let me just finish with the chevron burst, because the trumpets happen in November, and then the clearing chevron bursts actually come in May during the Hitharo electrical peak, which has to do with the spin on the northern hemisphere, the way the energy comes in, it's on the top. Okay, like if you were look at planet down. Now, if you're a flat earther, it may not work for you, but whatever. It's coming in from that direction. And then there's another thing that's coming in during the magnetic peak, which is called the Hethalon, which is August 12th through the 15th, which is more positive energy coming from off-world, interdimensional, eternal, internal, energy that's coming to help clear these trumpet pulses. So with that, now talk about because that's probably enough for people. If they want to research it more, they can go research it. But these are biblical, what you're going to talk about now. This is the
Yeah,
Bible.
yeah, yeah. And you've been pointing to the fourth trumpet, the fourth seal.
Yes.
Okay. So, trumpet one, you guys, green grass and one-fourth of the trees are burned up. So this is kind of like, yeah, this is Revelation's prophecy here. But I really do feel that the biblical Revelation's prophecy does tie into New Earth prophecy. That we're going to go through periods of terra transformation, and so that will require geological upheaval to occur. Even with the coming of the golden light cities and the coming of the 12 solar discs that we activated in the U.S. gridwork, I mean, even within that, there are predictions, so to speak, that do align with the trumpets as well, such as fire in the sky, even though it's not specifically mentioned in the trumpets, but it is a part of New Earth prophecy for building of the light city. So it's interesting. It does all coincide as we're in this great grand simulation, just everything's kind of overlapping. But okay,
And
so
number
seven.
one is hitting a certain state. It sounds like California. It seems like that's got a lot of that, unfortunately.
Well, and I just wanted to tell you too, with the Paris uh Eiffel Tower, I've been seeing that's going to get struck down, just as that JD Vance obelisk did. I think that something's going to hit the Eiffel Tower. There's going to be a massive lightning strike. There's going to be a massive fire underneath the Eiffel Tower. There's going to be something that actually happens additional. I mean, that coincides the blackout and everything, because right before I even seen that blackout occurred, I kept getting an image of a lightning bolt striking the Eiffel Tower. So there is something within the towers because they are deceptive towers of power. We talk about all of this, right? So, okay, the seven trumpets. The first trumpet is green grass, and one-third of the trees are burned up, Revelations 8:7. The second trumpet is one-third of the sea becomes blood. One-third of ships and the sea life will be destroyed, Revelations 8:8. Interesting, we're coming up on the Lionsgate 8:8. That's Revelations 8:8. A third trumpet, one-third of the water turn bitter turns bitter. So I guess our water's not going to be no good. That's not good. One-third of sun, moon, and stars do not shine. Revelations 8:12. Locust wield the beast military power. Revelations 9:1. 200 million man army. The sixth trumpet. 200 million man army. A third of mankind is killed. Well, hey, we already did that in World War II. So yeah, we're just skipping the sixth one. Seventh trumpet. The kingdom of God is declared. Revelations 11:15. So we're on the fourth
and that
one.
was
One
which
one
one
third
now?
of the sun, moon, and stars do not
Seven.
shine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So these coincide with the seals, and this is what the J seals are. This is kind of the insertion of the persecution programming wounding, crucifixion programming wounding. It does keep us locked into a loop cycle of destroy, cleanse, clear, and repeat.
Yep.
Yeah. We're just kind of repeating that over and over. Um, Okay, so these are pictures from the opening ceremony, which I mean, this has already been like all over the internet, right? It's already been, people have been decoding this from the moment it happened. I mean, clearly there's been an uprising of Christians that are just so angry about, uh, the programming of everything, what they're doing. Um, so what was kind of your take? I guess I'm going to flip through the pictures here, and I just want to give a quick shout out too, because these pictures were also sent to me by Juan M. Lamela. So shout out to you. Thank you for emailing me these pictures. But yeah, so you said the four horsemen. In this article, people are guessing the fifth horseman of the apocalypse. Okay, so I guess there is some confusion about this. The rider and his horse were crossing the Seine River, representing the night sky since the beginning of the ceremony. The gender of the fifth horseman of the apocalypse is female. It is a woman who covers her face with a mask so as not to reveal her true identity. Her true identity will bring a shocking worldwide stir. Could this be connected to Kamala Harris? Okay. The women will bring the unification of nations and countries of the earth, 200 countries participating with Paris. So are these the ones under NATO? Possibly. Under an order of 5 continents represented by the Olympic flag and that she carries. She delivers the flag into the hands of the leaders. Um, okay. Now the woman is supposed to represent, she was representing something dark and then she transitioned to something evil. Now, is that what has happened here with the satanic abuse of it all? This is what I'm getting because it says she is an angel of light. It is clear, but it's a clear presentation by the illuminated ones of the white wings placed in the upper background via the Eiffel Tower. Did I have that picture? So this is the Eiffel Tower. Now, Missy, some people are saying that these blue lights that were going off behind the white wings, wow, ah, gosh, is that they were some sort of tracking and scanning device, that they were actually surveying the grids for some sort of directed energy weapon, that they were hiding it all within the show schematics and logistics of it all, that these blue beams were some sort of laser and tracking and gridding device. Um, now
Well,
I'm not
what happened is they also remember something happened with the transportation. What was that? There's just so much that I can't remember that was shut down originally in the train I can't remember why though. What happened? I don't what I sent you that too, but I can't remember what it was now because I don't want to miss say anything. Just if you remember, drop it in the comments. But there was something with the the train station. I don't want to say any words that may not be the right words on here, but yeah, it to me, when I looked at this, I feel like it's like a Pink Floyd show at first or something. And I like Pink Floyd, I'm not saying anything, but I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? And then they're playing like the heavy metal with the opera, and of course you have the certain people that were there, like Celine Dion, and she had that stiffness disease. What was that? So
yeah.
here she couldn't even
Stiff
perform.
person's disease. I've never even heard of that.
Yes, and you know what she did? Can I say this? Yeah, gender neutral clothing. The
Right.
kids,
Okay.
yeah, that whole thing. So when I look at all of this, to me, it's just a satanic, shit show, if you will. I
Yeah,
can't say
no,
any
yeah, it definitely is.
I can't say any of it.
Zero Immortal puts the writer is dressed like the heroes in the Assassinations Creed world.
I I thought it was interesting that, of course, The Simpsons got it right, and there was predictive programming again with that too. How do they get everything right with all this stuff? So you can break down that Last Supper. It is, I think they put
Okay.
that ceremony they do in the bacchanal in the form of the Last Supper. Okay, and it is a mockery, even though their ritual for the Olympic Games came first. I thought it's important too that just the fact that Kamala was carrying that torch, at first we thought it was the Statue of Liberty, which yes, it was, but I also got that it had more to do with the Olympics because the whole election is like the Olympics. The election itself is the Hunger Games too. It is a game, if you will. All this is a game. All the world's a stage and we are merely players. That's what the whole thing is. I mean, I didn't spend too much time on the Olympics. I mean, I looked at all of it, but obviously I didn't watch it. I just
Right. Well, I think there's so, I mean, I really feel like obviously this is like disrespectful AF. Oh, Missy. Oh, she popped out of the picture. Um, I
I'm
mean,
here.
do you feel that this is definitely I feel like this is a level of betrayal. Like this itself is betrayal in the sense that I guess what came up the first thoughts that I had when I seen this was Sodom and Gomorrah.
Oh, this is absolutely Sodom and Gomorrah, and it's setting people up for if they do, if we do have a female, just because it's in a female, the person's in a female body doesn't make them a female. Let me give you an example. Back in the day, and this is part of my Biltmore Village mystery tour, with the president before Mr. T, which I kind of make a joke and call him Mr. Ribman or Mr. Ribs, because he used to, when he would come into Asheville, he would love to eat at a place called um, 12 Bones. And then one time they actually shut down the corner kitchen restaurant because he used to stay at the Omni Grove Park Inn with his golfing buddies regularly, because DC by a plane ride or helicopter ride is really close. Air Force One used to patrol the area, spraying the chemtrails. It was just crazy. But during a lot of the spiritual people thought, he was like connected to Akhenaten and he was going to bring the light and everything was going to be good. But I looked at the financing of where the money was coming from, and I said, you know what? And the codes in his name, I'm like, this is not going to end well. So that's what has to happen, really, is we actually, even though something can be what we want it to be, I mean, unless it's like an empty vessel and the collective will fill it. If the collective would grow up enough to really have discernment, maybe we could mold the being into what we want. That's why I sent you that Elon Musk thing, because part of the joke was I have absolutely no experience running a country. Well, maybe that's a good thing that we have no experience. You know what I mean? So it's like we're all learning it together, where we all step up. I mean, I would like to see a world where it's a round table of leaders that are equal instead of having one figurehead that represents everybody. I mean, this is something we need to grow past, and it's possible that I mean, my personality has different feelings than what the higher identities. So I'm really wanting to come from the neutral higher identity perspective of it may not be good for any of us on the boots on the ground, but a lot of these structures have to crumble and change, and they crumble gradually. It's not like everything just comes down. Like the money system isn't going to just come down, because what are you going to replace it with? These things are in a constant unraveling, and then new things come in. And it's like you were talking about in some other show I caught the tail end of, that people that work in the medical system have to be the ones that change it. People that are in the school system have to be the ones that change it. Not everybody can leave their 3D job right now, because then everything is just not going to work. I mean, I know everybody might want to leave their 3D job, but there's effort in that. And some people are actually being trained with new technologies, more green, things becoming more green and all that stuff. Speaking of green, let me tell you what's in my smoothie. I'm having a smoothie with spinach and bananas and strawberries and blueberries and mangoes and beets and fiber and different kinds of powders, and apple juice. And
Well,
it's
that's awesome. Shout out to that because I got to go juice after this and get some celery juice in me. I've been doing the mushroom coffee this morning because I was kind of tired. But hey, I just want to say we have a lot of people in the chat that are agreeing with us about this Sodom and Gomorrah. Um, yeah, let's see. We have Zerolith Immortal said they didn't get it right away. They revealed the script. They know you are gonna let it happen and it doesn't matter other than to make you feel small. Let's see. Oh, I scrolled way up. Yeah, Nunu puts and Samora. Casey, yes, Sodom and Gomorrah. I tried not to let it take any energy, but the female child they had in that made me sick. Uh, Zerolith Immortal said, I've done my homework. I did my homework in 2012. Okay. Yeah, but people are just they're agreeing. Sodom and Gomorrah. So
is.
if anyone knows, that's the two cities in the Bible, book of Genesis that were destroyed by God due to their wickedness. So maybe this is kind of
And they turned into a pillar of salt, which to me represents a nuclear explosion. That's what I think. It turned into rubble. I mean, I can't prove that, but that's my hunch. And yeah.
well, it definitely rings true with the trumpet symbolism. It rings true with, the Old and New Testament of the Bible. I think this does run through the Quran as well. If we're going these biblical narratives, but I mean, even the New Earth narrative. But the thing is in the New Earth narrative, I mean, there's no fear of the wrath of God. I mean, the wrathful God is essentially not really a part of that philosophy. So, it's just interesting though. I think that when people are living in an unrighteous way though, an immoral way, a corrupted way, um, especially if you think about the transgenderism. I mean, this I think was the most disturbing thing to me. I'm tired of
Oh,
seeing this. I'm tired of this being pushed. I'm tired of this being like so openly just like I mean, because of the agendas behind it that society, the collective, the unawakened have not come to, I guess, truly understand that by doing this, they're basically obliterating simple matters and knowledges, and they're adding like confusion and chaos orders and codes into basic universal laws, such as the law of gender, the law of polarity. Anything that's governing natural creation, they're basically destroying it. Anything regarding the knowledge of the light body and the soul and the functioning of these things. Again, another layer of deceptive distortion
oh,
that we're
another
going to have to clear for the children, basically the
another
crystal children coming in.
another thing that comes to me, this guy in the center, I was going to say, get rid of that picture, but there's a cake there. And that's because Marie Antoinette would say, let them eat cake because cake was more expensive than bread. Now, this ties in with Mardi Gras and the Mardi Gras celebration because they always put a plastic baby in what's called the king cake in the Mardi Gras thing, which to me represents sacrifice, so they're showing you, and there's been so many music videos of people like that become part of the food. The food, they are the food. They're with the cake and with all the food around them. They're
Right,
laying.
right, right, right. So what does this blue guy represent then? What is the blue about? I feel like he looks like Santa Claus or something.
Yeah, well, I see a Santa Claus energy, but I also see this whole thing. Okay. Oh, I'm getting chills.
The Smurfs.
The Smurfs, yes, it's making fun of, it's the Smurf thing, but on a higher level, who was blue? Shakti and Shiva, right? And a lot of the paganism comes from Indo-European, even the Aryan race, actually, which ties into Rigel and what you want to bring in, but I got to get this piece in. Kamala's name means lotus. And what's been on my mind is the blue lotus and blue lotus activation. I mean, blue lotus tea, blue lotus oil, blue lotus, a lot of synchronicity with it for me in the past year. It smells wonderful, by the way. But Iasha again talks about what's called the blue lotus tether line that connects to the sphere. Okay, sphere of Amente. Okay, and the sphere of Amente is in Andromeda. For some reason, it was brought to Ireland for a while, but it's, according to what she says, the sphere of Amente, which is the race morphogenetic field in the future, is in Andromeda. So, oh yeah, you're bringing up the lotus now. Okay.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We hear about the jewel in the lotus, the symbology of the jewel in the lotus. I think we are the jewel. When we awaken, we're the diamond. That when the diamond grids awaken, it's not the earth that has to awaken, it's us. Our morphogenetic field and how we connect to the earth is what's going to awaken those grids, because those grids are already there because everything is holographic, right? It's us and our frequency that we're the gatekeepers. We're the ones that have to unlock. But being a gatekeeper, I have words on that, doesn't mean you own the land. None of us own any real estate or anything here. It's here's a Christian song that goes, "This world's not my home. We're just a passing through. My treasure's all laid up somewhere beyond the blue." Right? That's all like what we are. We're passers through here. None of us own anything, but we
Right.
can connect with certain pieces of land and be activated to that land as a gatekeeper.
Well, and let me just throw some theory out there for all of you watching with this too. You just talked about none of us own this, right? Well, this I think ties into the predictive programming of, let me see if I can find what I had of Baby Shark.
Oh God, yeah.
Okay. I'm bringing in Baby Shark because we talk about this is a reptilian programming. The Paris Olympics itself and the ceremonial ritual, it's a programming. It's to program the competitive mindset. I mean, that's what the Hunger Games represent, right? We take the best of the best from each country and we put them in war games and we make them fight to see who's the best. This is like, um, yeah, it's our entertainment, but it's our entertainment and the mockery of us embracing the reptilian mental cortex and the celebration of this. And these are reptilian celebrations that we're honoring here. And so it does coincide to the predictive programming of the youth, which for the indigo types, the first generations, one, two, and three, it used to be the dinosaurs, Jurassic Park, Barney. You were just talking about Barney.
I
Um,
dressed up as Barney for the kids. When I did kids camp, I would dress up as Barney for them.
that's but still that's Jurassic, that's Draconian,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
dinosaur, that's reptile.
Yeah.
Same now, that's shifted to this generation, which now they do baby shark do 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 do. Like that is a freaking that's gonna be like some sort of electrical code impulse that they like sound off in the future, and it does something in the collective fields and the mental programming of the minds of this generation and to activate war codes. This is all war generated back to the reptilian collectives, that Zeta hive mind, back to the Rigelian system, when the Anunnaki resistance and the domination of the Syrian patriarchy, Melchizedek resistance pop off. They're going to sound these through an EBS system or something, and they're going to run the frequency codes of do 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 baby shark. These people are going to activate to their shark codes.
Well, you know what else is where we brought up before when we were talking about Rigel. This was probably, I don't know, days ago. Cthulhu was on my mind, H.P. Lovecraft, and I actually saw one of the Marvel comics. I can't remember her name, if it's the Scarlet Witch or whatever, is going to become like the Cthulhu now, which is the octopus. Because I was seeing like the octopus might be more of the male and the Hydra might be more of the female in a way. I sent you some of those pictures too. And remember, and I showed you the video to watch in Resident Alien, which is a cute kind of little show on Netflix, that there is an octopus in that. So
Mm,
it's something
mm.
about the waters, Nessie, the Loch Ness monster, and the predictive programming of the waters are going to rise, you know. But I think, isn't this the Earth's not going to be destroyed by water or fire? I think it's by smoke, which must be the program. Is it's both. It's all things at once. It's that other movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Everything's a movie. See that?
Yeah, and just give a moment here to give a quick shout out in the chat. Just wanted to say uh hello to Ryushin. Hey Ryushin, I need to
Hi.
respond to an email. I'm gonna hopefully have Ryushin on the channel. He's gonna bring in a lot of intel and information around Rigel and the Orion system and how all of the pyramids all over the world are pointing to our Orion origins. Everything is like literally in plain sight for us to interpret, which we fail to do on so many levels. So I'm excited to have Ryushin on eventually on the channel. We got to get him scheduled and yeah, hopefully we'll be chatting soon. Um, let's see. Yeah, KC says, "Oh, yes, Baby Shark is catchy. So what is that about?" Then they have a movement that goes along with it, like Jaws opening and closing. I mean, we talk about if you look at Netflix right now, I mean, what is the main theme on Netflix? I mean, they have probably like 100 different shark movies at this point. Megalodon, there was a big one, Megalodon. There's like multiple versions of that. These monstrous sized sharks. There was a movie, uh, Shark in Paris. Shark in
Oh,
Paris.
wow. Well, what does a shark represent? It's a bottom feeder, and this is another thing I talk about um in my Biltmore Village mystery tour. When we talk about serial killers and things, because it's a historical tour that's ghostly and this and that. But the thing is, the mayor doesn't want anybody to know there's a giant shark on the loose in the Jaws movie. They're trying to hide it. So is this all the first thing I get to? Does this tie into chimeras, when they're making things in a lab, you know.
Well, probably also ties into the needlecraft technology. You were just bringing up the Cthulhu. I mean, this was one of the big things that I think was coming forward when initially when we were doing a lot of the decodes around what they were putting into the needle juice, and that a lot of this had to do with genetic modification and manipulation of the gene code, either putting some sort of cap or some sort of force field, dismantling the fourth through the 12th strand, and then also running hybridization programs through the needlecraft, which we clearly knew. I mean, with the squid, the micro squids, which I thought was a micro Cthulhu that they were implanting. So either what the Cthulhu was going in through the needlecraft to either deconstruct and destroy the organic organism, or it would bond into the sheaths of the strands, and you're creating like a Cthulhu race, a hybridized
Right.
draconian Cthulhu race.
And the Squid Games, there's another show which is awful. I didn't know what it was. Watched a little of it, couldn't watch it. It was so bad. I mean, even worse than Hunger Games and worse than anything you've ever seen because they actually die, so it's more like the gladiators with that whole thing. But then there were some stories going around, which I have not vetted, about when people pass the body that, the movie Beetlejuice is coming in, but that needle juice, reptilian juice stuff stays in the body and actually gives off a signal like of zeros and ones. I don't know if you've heard that. People can look that up and see if that is a true thing, where there's, which tells me they want to try to create poltergeists from the ground by having all these things as a network. We've seen zombie apocalypse movies, plenty of zombie apocalypse movies too, that they want to bring in.
Zerliath, I can't say his name. I'm so sorry. Immortal. He says the symbolism of the shark would have been used by seafaring cults as a totem of strength. What you do with it is on you. I mean, that's true. I mean, there's a light and dark aspect to everything, but I think the way these things kind of roll in terms of predictive programming, in terms of the collective, is that, we are either taking a light aspect or a dark aspect of that, and it's bringing forth deeper levels of prophecy that
When
run
I go
into, yeah.
when I go to the Ripley's Aquarium in Gatlinburg, I mean, I have a membership there because I love aquariums. I love to walk through the conveyor belt where the sharks and the turtles and all these animals swim together, and they all get along, and it's great. We also need bottom feeders in the ocean. The problem is human beings are or whatever's working through the human, not the true angelic human, whatever that's working through to weaponize these creatures. That's what's happening. They're becoming weaponized.
Yeah, definitely. There's so much of that playing
And
out.
then there's also a lot of AI generated things. So now we don't even know what's true anymore because we're looking at a lot of AI generated things.
Yes, that's very true. And I've talked about 100% that being the danger of AI is that it does alter your lens of what's real and what's not. And we're supposed to be in the time of clearing the time of deception, not
Right.
blending more into it. Hey, so yeah, you have this shark under Paris, and then obviously we had the Paris blackouts.
Yes. And
Okay.
people say that was directly from that the Last Supper thing. That's what people think. They're
Yeah, that
attributing
this was
that.
kind of the warning of the whole Sodom and Gomorrah thing. And
Right.
Um, I I think one of the things that probably could have been going on is that you think about all of these celebrities that turned up for this, all of these, and even these off-world leaders. Okay, we talk about leaders coming in from the Rigel system, these royalty draconian, these royal Zeta Regalian lines, these royal Anunnaki hybrid lines coming in and off the planet. They could have this could have been a worldly meeting, right? Okay, off-world competition as well. How do we know that they're not inserting competitors from Mars or inserting competitors from Venus and doing like astronomical type things, right? So it could be that the blackout served to get these people off planet to disrupt things, get these celebrities out of the area. Okay,
And
so
don't
I think
forget, Snoop Dogg had Baphomet around his neck too. So,
yeah, that's true. Let's go back to that. Where did that? I had this one. Snoop Dogg's Baphomet necklace at the Paris Olympics fuels outrage. Oh my gosh. I'm so shocked.
yeah,
I was
people know
shocked
what it
by
is.
this.
People know who Aleister Crowley is, and it's amazing that people are really starting to do their sleuthing and digging deep. We're getting a lot of detectives out there now. I think that happened after a few years ago with the La Cucaracha. It caused people to delve deeper.
I'm really wondering if Snoop Dogg even knows what he's representing with this. I mean, what a satanic symbolism to wear. What
Yeah,
kind of statement is he trying to make?
I don't know.
I mean,
They're sold
really.
out, a lot of them.
I mean, this is outrageous. This is
Yeah.
just I mean,
And they might do it because it's outrageous. That might be the reason he's doing it. No other reason in his mind, anyway. In his mind, that's what he thinks. I'm going to be outrageous and I'm going to cause controversy.
yeah,
You know,
it's another form of mockery for sure of the spirits, but also letting people know, hey, what if you want to talk about the legions of entities and which support these things and work within the matrix, the satanic matrix, the black magic grids, the
that's
fallen
right.
grids, the Metatronic grids, the shadow realms and worlds, like it's all coming together when we have these big events. Like it's a culmination of all these realms. And so yeah, it what the outer plane of this is coming through the people that, I think we least expect to be
I,
involved or tied to it,
I
you know?
wanted to put this in there because Mount Vesuvius was on my radar because it's on the same latitudinal line as Paris. And also Mount Shasta, there could be fires in that area. I was hearing because the reservoir of Lake Shasta and then the Statue of Liberty is on the same latitudinal line. Paris is on the same latitudinal line, and then so is Mount Vesuvius. And I was thinking something about harnessing and feeling into something about harnessing volcanic energy for this games.
Yes. Well, we are in the time of the dragon.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I think just being in the year of the dragon, this is initiating a lot more fires consciously, anyways. I mean, fires are raging everywhere at this time. I mean, we have them, it's kind of I feel like it kicked off with Maui and Lahaina fires. I mean, not that fires hadn't been going on because they had, but that was like a real trigger, I think, because it occurred on 8/8 last year. Okay, and there
Yeah.
was so
Yeah,
much
that's
around the
right.
directed energy weapons that it just was unreal, and you could see how that was tied to so much of the manipulation of the Zeta Regalian leagues on this planet to create and go back underground. Basically, that's what they want to kick people off those islands because that's where they want to go back underground. They want to go underground in Kauai and in
And then
Hawaii. Yeah.
Pele again. Remember, I brought up like Pele, the goddess Pele. That's very important to them. That's why they say you don't want to just take volcanic rock when you go there because it could be cursed. I mean, have you heard this? That when you go there, you got to be very careful where, if you want to bring rocks, where you take them. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it's good just to not take anything. Just kind of
Yeah.
go and be
Right.
just just again because nothing belongs to us.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't own anything. Um, but yeah, so that fire, there's just recently fires in Kauai. There's fires now in Mount Shasta, like you said. There's fires in Canada. There's fires in California. I mean, everywhere is basically burning up. I mean, this is the year of the dragon, so I think we're going to be becoming more and more conscious of the flames. And then again, that's one of the seals. That's one of the trumpets, going back to the trumpets, that things are going to burn up, that fire is going to be in the sky. Um,
Except for Western North Carolina, we're getting lots of rain, which is awesome. Awesome. Except I hope it doesn't rain at my event.
so yeah, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about your event? Because this is exciting. This is a big event going on. It's coming up
And
literally in a few days, right?
yes, Rob was hoping to go. He said he really wanted to go, and I know you were invited. It's called the Appalachian Starseed Reunion, and it's actually in Old Fort, which is just back down the mountain from Black Mountain, and it goes August 1st through the 4th. I will be, talking about similar things to what we're talking about today, as well as hosting UFO Skywatch with my third generation night vision goggles. Hopefully, there'll be a clear sky, and there's going to be some other speakers there. I know a guy that works with something called the Paradigm. It's a pyramid that does frequencies and he does Aramaic toning. And I have a friend that she has a hip camp Airbnb place that she'll be there doing some meditations, and a lot of new people I'll get to meet. Also, I'll be there with a friend of mine, Donna, and we'll be selling some of this. Well, when you come back, yeah, you scroll through and you'll see
Find
that.
you. I'm looking
That
for
is,
your picture.
that's me there. It's kind
Did I
of a
just
walk.
pass it? Oh, yeah, here you are. Okay.
Yeah, that's me.
So this is Missy Hill, guys. This is the Appalachia Starseed reunion. So if anyone's going to be in North Carolina, August 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, this might be a fun thing to pop into. Looks like there's a lot of awesome speakers. I like what they say about you here. UFOologist, intuitive empath, Emerald Order Guardian, founders of the Magi Grail, Elohai Elohim.
And much more, but what do you write on these things? It's like it's
Yeah,
all
Crystal
thing. It's
Sunshine
always
contacted me as well, so she's going to be a speaker there. She usually goes on checks out my channel and Typical Skeptics channel, Rob. Let's see, is there anyone else you know that's going to be exciting speakers? How about
Alma,
James Rink?
Alma and Dale Allen Hoffman is who I know. I know both of them very well. They're like in my close network. So Dale is the one right there that does the Aramaic toning below the other
Okay,
one.
okay. Oh, this guy. Okay.
And he has
Aramaic Wisdom Keeper.
Yeah, and he has an instrument called the paradigm, which was actually invented by another guy. And I used to have these people on my radio show. The guy that invented the paradigm, his name's August Worley. He used to work for Robert Moog as an engineer. So if you know anything about Moog synthesizers.
Okay.
So
So
yeah, it's
yeah,
gonna be a fun event. Here we go with the rain again. It's raining again.
yeah. Well, it's raining where I am too. It's actually just started to come down. So we've been getting lots of rain too, every single day, just pouring, and I
But
love it. I
I'm
love
I
it.
my hope is with all this rain, I don't know if it's El Nino, La Nina stuff, but hopefully there won't be a hurricane season. We already had that one. That was enough in the when you were in Texas, and hopefully that's it for the year. We're done. That's what I'm believing, praying, dousing, all that stuff. Like we're not having any more storms like that.
Missy, can you speak to the Biscuit Basin? So not only do we have fires, we've had a hydrothermal explosion.
Right. And the last one was in 2009, where something happened near that caldera and the whole thing in Yellowstone. I mean, they're waiting for the Old Faithful is what I went to Old Faithful as a little kid. But what they're worried about is if Old Faithful goes, that's going to be a real problem. But I know in 2009, oh, it's really coming down now. Can you hear it?
I can't hear it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So hopefully it doesn't get too loud, but in December 9th of 2009, we had what was called the Norway spiral that opened a black hole to Abaddon. It was like part of the opening the thing with the Phantom Matrix and all that stuff. I actually think that ties into the whole Rigel thing too. It seems like timelines and time wars and everything to do with time as we approach 2012 started to speed up in 2009. At least that's when I became super aware of the timeline manipulation was back then, that somebody was going in changing timelines, adding things, deleting things. And then in 2015 we heard a lot about Mandela effects. That's when certain things in our history change. We just started hearing different stuff. Wow, what a clearing this is. It scared the hummingbirds away though, because I've been watching the hummingbirds. I'm going to have to change their juice in a few minutes because they're just eating so much.
I've been having a lot of butterflies in my garden. Butterflies and lots of bumblebees because I planted a huge wildflower garden out in the front of my yard, which has gone crazy and has bloomed all over the place. And they're so tall. Oh my gosh. It's beautiful. I literally can just go out and pick flowers at this point and create my own vases in the house because, yeah, I don't need to buy flowers at all. I have them just blooming all over the place. But yeah, these geysers do mean something. I mean, they are a releasing of pressure, I think, in the planet. I think it's a releasing of pressure within the mental body of the planet. And I think it is, again, very symbolic that this kind of occurred after the United States grid work. I mean, we didn't send energy to this location, particularly speaking, but we were definitely working within and around it. And I think everything that was done in Mount Pinnacle may be connected to this. Uh, the Arkansas Mount Pinnacle, that
Right.
this would be like a pressure point release of some kind. And It is very significant for transformation, and I think also for any sort of predictive prophecy of what's going on with the national park there,
Right.
and the volcano and the caldera and what's kind of playing out with that as well. A lot of the New Earth prophecy is pushing the idea that at some point California will be underwater, and that will be due to things that happened here at this national park at Yellowstone. So,
Right, because it's supposed to affect the Colorado River, like you've heard the prophecy where Denver was supposed to be I think that's changed though. I think a lot of those things keep changing with Denver being like the capital. And you
yeah.
lived out in that area, so
Uh-huh. I'm so happy I left too. Not that I'm sad because I left family there, but I'm happy because I needed a change for sure. Just gosh, everything there is just it's I don't have a good vibe there anymore, so to speak. The staff there is really bad. Staph infections. Everybody has staph all over their skin there. I noticed
really,
that. Yes,
a lot
there's
of
like some massive
chemtrails.
staph outbreak there.
Yeah, lots
Like
of
if you have
chemtrails.
sensitive skin, don't move to Colorado because I mean, they have like a massive staph outbreak. I'm like, what is
Yeah,
that
well,
about?
it's dry and there's no water. I think the thing is what they rely on. This was coming to me, being out west, as beautiful as it is. That reason I like Western North Carolina, because a friend of mine posted something that lives in Vegas, and he said that showed the temperatures in Vegas and the temperatures in Asheville, and it was raining here every day, but it was sunny there. And he was like, well, where would you rather be? And only one person said they would want to be in Las Vegas area, because this area does get a lot of rain, which is good, because out west, to rely on getting a lot of water, you have to get a lot of snow. And then you're talking harsher temperatures, and then it burns up in the summer months. So it's even more weather
Yeah.
extremes,
Mm-hmm. It's harsh weather extremes for sure. And then I think the radiation exposure because of the elevation.
Yes, that too.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, be sure to come and join us for the Germany Stargate activation and clearing. Um, Missy, you're gonna be there for this one, right? 8/8, are you coming?
Yeah, and now this is some other things that were on my radar. So I said Paris and Mount Vesuvius, and then above it, where it connects, is around. There was Hamburg and Bremerhaven. I don't know if I'm getting the names right, but the way it makes like a pyramid shape, because the coastal towns of Germany are very important. Looking at coastal towns coming in, like on the North Sea and things like that. That's really on my radar to look at. And also the Kelstein house, which I actually went to the Kelstein house.
Well, yeah, I'm putting out a request right now. Anybody that has any deep deep dives or decoded information about specific locations in Germany, just like send them into the business email info@indigoangel222.com. I'm gonna be doing a cosmic grid update I believe Wednesday morning. So be sure to set your reminder for my next live. We're gonna dive into Germany and all these sacred locations. And so if anybody has any deep dive intel, just send it in so I can look at it. Um, and kind of put this grid together because this is really one that I feel like holds a lot of seals and like Orion vaults around it, so to speak. Like to really like get into this, we got to peel back a lot of distorted and traumatized layers, which can be, I think, painful with working within this one. So we got to bring our A game. We got to bring some inner strength, some compassion, some really willingness to move some stuck energies within these lands. And I think one of the places I've been guided to is I keep hearing the eagle and the eagle's nest, which was, I guess, Hitler's home, which kind of sits on the border between Germany and Austria at like the top of this like hill. But
That's what I
so
sent you. That's Kelstein house. Yes,
that's the
Hitler's home.
Kalstein house. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense then. Yeah, we need to look at that. Um, and also underground gray bases. So I think there is immense amount of underground gray facilities and locations that are kind of surrounding. the outskirts of Germany and the inter couple in the inside as well. So I've been charting all of the locations that I feel like all the gray underground alien locations are located, so that way we can, I guess, work to clear the control command centers of these gray stations and yeah, bring forth the light. There's some cave systems that I've been looking at. There is an actual Stargate portal there. It's a bridge. It's called the Devil's Bridge. And a lot of people go there to take pictures of it, but when you take a particular picture of it from a specific angle, you can actually see the Stargate open up. So,
Right. And they always name female vortices, and the fact that you did a circle is probably a feminine thing. They always demonize with the name. They always put devil.
right.
It's always a female thing, you know.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
So be sure to join us, guys, for this. You just have to go to my website, IndigoAngel222.com. You can sign up for it under my services tab. There is a small buy-in fee, and that's just for to host the event in the container. And yeah, I think if you have any like Missy said, any Indo-European like inheritance and lineage, and especially if you have direct descendants or like any family like from Germany in this incarnation, I mean, one of the reasons just to attend this in general is just to receive a healing and a clearing. Anyone who's coming from this descent period, like I feel like there's so much healing integration. So even if you're not the one directly participating with the vision, with the work itself, like if you want to come just to receive, because I feel like I've been noticing the more and more grid work that we do, that those that live directly from the land, they're holding the wounds the most. Like the trauma is the most fresh within their field, within their consciousness. And so a lot of times they're dealing so directly with discrimination, judgment, persecution, whatever it is, that even though it might be internalized and you might be saying in that ego saying, no, 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 I'm fine, right? Like, no, I don't need any of this, da 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 da. What's internalized and what's suppressed deep, deep, deep down in the Stargate blockages themselves is all of that stuck energy. So it's really like we have to kind of get the smog to shift up and through the astral, right? Unlock all of the vaults and all of the beast machine mechanical locking systems that keep this stuff blocked within the generations to be able to really heal and clear it. So I look forward to doing this one. Um, I
And
feel like it's going to be good. Yeah.
all the grid works tie together because we're looking at Paris and these Olympics, and that Eiffel Tower is, oh, it seems like it's been on my mind forever. Also, another one to pay attention to is Big Ben in London. I don't know. They've shown us in movies something's going to happen with Big Ben. I don't know, but the clock. Um, the thing with the Hawaii trip too. The other side of the Kauai Stargate is actually Mont Segura, which is in France, and
Hmm.
that's where the Cathars were annihilated. And Ron and I actually hiked to the top of that too, and did some, clearing. It was beautiful. It's such beautiful places. They always do this stuff, the shenanigans, the awful things that they do. On these locations. So yeah, that was an amazing trip going to France and Spain at the same time. And that was back in, what was it? I think 2015 I went there.
Pia is saying the Vril Society is important in this case also. Deep guilt. Yes, I agree with that.
Real and Thule, and also stuff about Hyperborea might come up, because I know some people are actually saying Hyperborea, part of it is like way north in Norway, and it connects to the northern lights, that kind of thing. And some people, like some people call it Hyperborea. There's a connection with that whole thing that will be revealed more about Thule, Vril, all that stuff. Which Vril, I've always kind of seen it like the Force, like
Yes.
Star Wars using the Force.
Well,
So
it's definitely a force I think that they would conjure up from the inner core power of the planet. Um,
right.
when I was I guess remote viewing and kind of putting together the Draco Seal implant system, I seen that it's actually an implant. they install an implant in between the passageways of the seat of the soul and the, the core power of the planet. They put like a real implant down there. And this hooks and links into people's central nervous system. It hooks and links into the 10th vagus nerve. And so they actually control the nervous system according to the vril energy. There's some sort of controlling mechanism within this according to the Draco cap on consciousness within the planet and how they're basically controlling through planetary bioweapons all the way from distorting time, the Gregorian calendar. The Gregorian calendar is a Draco implant and seal according to the collective. Um, Also, any sort of pole modification and manipulation that they're doing according to what star system we're aligned to as our North Star, the Polarian star system. The
That's right. I mean, and even the moon is the whole distortions with the moon, but it'd still be better to be on a lunar calendar, go back to that, and then go to what the original calendar is. Because, we can see how when people forget their her story, what happens, like with the Olympics and all that stuff. I kind of see the whole thing with what you're saying about the vril. I'm kind of, there might be a positive side of vril we haven't tapped into either, but what I see it right now as is the Matrix. The when Neo had those things plugged into his back, if you remember in the Matrix, and then they put him in a scene. He was somewhere else in a ship, and then he was asleep sort of, or in a theta state or whatever, and projected his astral or whatever kind of body into that scene and did those fights and all that scene, which
yeah,
makes us wonder, what are we actually here? This is our avatar and we're actually somewhere else, and we're projected in, and yet we are also physically embodied. Not everybody here, but
right.
that's what we're working towards, is to be completely 100% physically embodied, so we can translocate. We could take the whole everything when we go. We open the passage, the portal, whatever, the Stargate, and we actually, all of our molecules, everything goes, and then it changes. Instead of like, we shed this. I mean, there's no judgment in the bardo of the shedding, but the higher expression is to actually take this whole vessel with us into the next timeline.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a good place to kind of sum everything up, so to speak. Even as you're speaking, I've seen like, gosh, like I think there's many layers of seals and caps on consciousness around the 10th dimension just within the land codes of Germany that we have to release. That the predatorial force, the king of tyranny implant, the domination, patriarchal domination codes, the Maldek. I think there's some sort of like mount, like you talked about Mount Vesuvian, but like some sort of mount where there's like a collection point. There's a collection point of this massive predatorial force, and where it slices through the grid layers, where it slices through and kind of allows itself to run the 33rd parallel. So we need to look at that. We need to look at the cross sections of the vertical ley lines as well. According to the Albion spine, I think running through Germany, I think this is a good thing for the grid work that we'll have to get into. But yeah, so many amazing things coming up. We have a lot on our plate at this time in our schedule, don't we, Missy? It's an exciting time, so much
I want to
movement.
put this in there besides this uh, grid work. I mean, well, the grid work, the Appalachian Starseed reunion also falls gearing up, which is a good time for my Biltmore Village Mystery Tour, Vortex Tours in Asheville area. We're actually in the Pisgah Forest, where there's a lot of mountains that are to be looked at, seen, witnessed, go feel the land. The Devil's Courthouse, if you will, that connects into the Pisgah Forest, and there's some things with that. Judaculla Rock that connects into Judaculla the Giant. When I talk about the Biltmore Village Mystery Tour, I'm talking about the Biltmore House, which is George Vanderbilt. Now, at one time, George Vanderbilt actually owned all the land from the Biltmore State and the Blue Ridge Parkway into the Pisgah Forest, which actually would be like an 8-hour horseback ride. And he started the first forestry school, which Robert Schenck actually came from Germany. By the way, an 8-hour horseback ride would not be a ride I'd want to take. And then in the eastern part of North Carolina, further east, going past Black Mountain, Spruce Pine, and the area of Mount Mitchell that I talked about, I do what's called a Brown Mountain Lights tour in the Linville Gorge. And soon, hopefully, a movie that I was in. I try to send you the trailer. I've tried to send you the trailer. I don't know if it went through, but it will be coming out. It's called I Saw the Light, and it's all about the Brown Mountain Lights. And what the Brown Mountain Lights are is they're like plasma balls that are made from the earth that can be used as a battery source for interdimensionals. Kind of looks like a ball lightning, and you can witness these balls of light over mountaintops, like over
Mm.
Table Rock and Hawksbill. And I've even had it get so close to one woman that she could almost touch it, like a Halley's Comet type of thing. So I do those if anybody's interested and they come to Western North Carolina. Lots of
Okay.
fun stuff in this area.
Yeah, well, we'll leave the links down in the description. So if anyone's interested and is in the area, maybe they'll want to hit you up after the Appalachian Starseed event and go for a nice tour to see all of this exciting stuff. So yeah, we'll leave all your contact there so anyone can find you. It's not there yet. I think I have to go back and put it in after this video. So just be sure to resend that to me, Missy. I'll get it in, or I can go check my previous email. But thank you all so much for watching today. We love you all so much. And yeah, be sure to go and set the notification for the next live, the Germany Cosmic Grid update. We're going to really dive into the thick of all of this, and I'm excited to do that with you guys. And the last thing I think I have to mention is my Hawaii trip as well. So if anyone's considering going to Kauai, we're kind of at the last stretch. We do have a few tickets still left and available that can be purchased through the month of August. Our non-accommodation package is still available if you would like to come and attend. And believe it or not, flights are the lowest they've ever been right now. I'm like, what are the
Wow,
odds that this alignment is coming in so perfectly? Airbnb prices are down, flights are down.
that's
It's like
great.
we're getting the yes, the green light is go for Kauai. So if you've been thinking, yes, maybe I should, I don't know. The green light. We've been getting the green light. So
Excellent.
it's a good time to go and it's needed right now. And luckily, I did get to meet with Huna Flash yesterday and have a little conversation with him about the importance of the Lemurian language. And so he told me some things that I think can carry over. And, so it's really awesome to be making these, I think he's Maori Hawaiian connections. And, yeah, just get some of those beautiful blessings that I think we're needing to do the work down there. So, yeah, we just keep getting the green light. So be sure to sign up if you're thinking about coming. Everything is at learn.indigoangel222.com. I did just update the landing page with our cutoff dates because we do have a cutoff date for sign up, um, which will be August 31st. So, yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope everyone's having a beautiful day, and I'll see you soon. And take care, Missy. Okay, so start.